Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion to open the meeting.
I second.
Okay, thank you. So we did not approve December 2021's minutes at the last meeting. Did everybody get a chance to read those? Did anybody have any changes or anything that they saw missing or edited? No. So do I make the motion or somebody else has to make a motion to approve them?
Anybody can. Kristen, Kristen, are you making a motion to approve them?
Most definitely.
And a second?
I'll second.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so we approved the December minutes and we will do January's at the next meeting because we didn't get a chance to post them for the public. So the first thing on the agenda is Parks and Recreation Department capital projects discussion. Jason, is that you and
yeah,
Jeff?
that's me and Jeff. So we sent some backup with this, but I actually spoke with Jerry to get a little more clarification on what his thoughts were. I think we all know that some of the parks need a lot of work, and we haven't put a whole lot into some of the parks, and that they need work. So we put together a capital plan, and it goes through 5 years, us and a bunch of other departments in the village. Did you guys get the email with the attachment? Yeah? Okay, good. So everyone can see it. We can go right off the top, but there's some projects that we want to do in the near future with the Recreation Trust Fund and some other projects that we would like to ask the board to possibly take from surplus or bond. So we'll do the first batch, which would be the projects that we would want to do that would need to be bonded, that we couldn't use the trust fund for. And those are the Lanza Field Lights, which is under Recreation number 1. And what would go with that project would be Parks Department number 5, which is the Lanza Field backstop. Those 2 projects would be bonded. We wouldn't be able to use the trust fund because it's not we're not like rebuilding a playground or building a new facility or a new area. So the Lanza Field Lights are $244,000, but we will save money on the project because electricity on the LEDs is a lot cheaper, and the cost of recovery or the return on investment is $129,000 change over 10 years. And that is quite a bit of savings compared to what we're paying now. So what they're saying is you're going to pay $120,000 more in electrical fees over the 10 years if you don't replace these bulbs. And that doesn't take into account maintenance costs, like changing the bulbs or rewiring, which we do every few years, and it could be $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. And the other benefit to going to LED would be the local sports leagues would be able to rent them because it would be significantly cheaper versus now, which is like $300 just to flip the switch and have them play out there. And then you would need a Parks Department employee to turn them on and off because they're an electrical box. So it's like $500 for them to use it for a few hours. And it's just, for the leagues, it's just not affordable. Whereas the new system would be flipped on with a cell phone or an iPad, or it could be timed. You wouldn't even need a staff member. You could turn it off from anywhere. And the fee is astronomically cheaper. They would be able to rent it for like $100 an hour, or $100 for 4 hours of lights versus $500. So I think you would see a revenue increase in field usage as well, because the sports leagues would be more inclined to use the lights.
Jason, so can you just explain why you said it has to be bonded? Like, why does it have to? I don't even know what that means, but why can't you use the money that's there?
So, from my understanding with my with the trust fund. So basically is people that, now this is like zoning and stuff, but my understanding is that folks that build in the village, they either have to provide a recreational amenity or they have to pay the village a fee for the village to provide the recreational amenity. And that's for like large projects. So on that list, you could see, I think there's a couple there, like 609 Mamaroneck Avenue, Comstock. They paid the village $172,000 in change because they couldn't build a playground or a trail, or I'm not sure exactly what qualifies as a recreational facility when they're building. But that's what that money's for. And the village can use it to, you know, build a playground or renovate a playground, but we can't use it to like do LED field lights because that's not necessarily like a recreational facility. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's why it would need to be bonded or come from surplus, and that's for the, you know, the financial folks to figure out what the best option is. But yeah, that's for my, I mean, Trustee Lucas might have a better idea of what it is, but it's pretty much the gist of it. Yeah.
That's the gist of it. And the only thing we've used it for thus far is the swings at Columbus Park. We
used it, yep. And the Jefferson basketball court, 7400, to refurbish that. Yeah. So we used it for those two projects. Now,
can I, there's like 450,000 remaining there, and that's probably the first project that we've done anything with that fund.
Yeah, there's 400, almost 433,000 in there right now.
Right, and we haven't utilized it. We haven't utilized it in years, and
we haven't utilized it since Columbus Park swings, and before that, I don't know when the last time was we utilized it.
I don't think it had been used before that.
Never.
But when speaking with Jerry, something like the Jefferson Avenue Park, we can renovate that entirely with the trust fund. So that's good. Something like Jeff can go into detail, but we at Florence Park, we have the tennis courts that look like a grinder went through them, and we also have the playground rubber surfacing, which looks like a grinder went through that too. So those are like expensive projects that we could use because we're refurbishing a playground area or a park area, but we wouldn't necessarily be able to use it on like utilities, like a utility thing, like changing lights. So.
Jason, can I ask, why are the lands of field lights and the backstop on two different departments? Like why is it broken up between, one is on the Parks Department capital budget and the other one is on the Rec Department? Why are they broken up like that? Because it's all lands of field.
That's a good question. So technically, Jeff is his own department, and on my own department, we were both asked to do a capital list. And we figured we break it up because they're kind of large. And if I'll take the field lights, you could take the backstop type deal. But essentially, this is one giant list for Parks and Recreation. You know what I mean? Even though we're two separate departments, it's very intermingled. But that's more so internally. So like I can handle some bigger project, you know, getting quotes, Jeff can handle it, and then we can come back and meet. But there's no specific reason as to, you know, why it's on one side or the other.
So going back to LED lights, Jason.
Yeah.
When we went through the exercise of doing the street lights, LED, the lands, it was supposed to be done like 6 months to a year later, and the street lights were done approximately what, Nora, 3 to 4 years ago, 5 years maybe.
Lights were done. Yeah, that was before I was a trustee.
Right. Yeah. So they're long overdue. And it could have been, you know, the savings could have been much more. So it should be addressed and it should be done.
Yeah, I tell my boss, like internally when we're doing it, it really hurts me. I feel like we're just like flushing money down the toilet every year we don't do them. And I also think they're extremely underutilized because they're so expensive to turn on. You know, we're not, you know, so there's a multitude. I think it'll be better for the public, for the kids that are going to use it, or the adult programs that are going to use it. And I think financially, it's a no-brainer for the village.
And they have to go through a cycle, I think, too, Jason. Once you turn them on currently, right? Don't they have to go on?
Yeah. They take like 15 minutes to warm up. Yeah, they're old school. So like you flip a switch. I'm trying to think of like Field of Dreams, you know, it's like, like they come on, you hear the noise. They're really, I think they're almost 30 years old or about now. And the backstop's got to be, you know, 70 years old, 75 years old. It's for such a beautiful park. It's just weird to have an eyesore right there. So these are long overdue projects. But I think if we don't do the lights, it's going to cost us $5,000 just to get the bulbs fixed because they're all going. Like I can only go so long before it's going to get too dark. So I've kind of been waiting on getting. We got them fixed, you know, a few years back, and it was very expensive because they got to get a big boom truck. They got to go up there. It's specialized work, and yeah. So that's a big project. The other thing I would like to mention is, because I was talking about it to Jerry, and I think it's important we all understand that with the Army Corps project that got approved, Jerry has a design meeting, I think in the coming weeks, and the design process could take 9 months, and then the project could start, Jerry said anywhere maybe next March, like this time next March. And that project is going to have an impact on like Ward and parts of Columbus Park. I'm not sure what the entire impact of the park would be in terms of when they're doing their work. But if, you know, a lot of folks utilize Florence Park, and if we can have Jefferson renovated, it would be nice to have an alternate location close by where they could use if by chance Columbus Park is out of commission, which I don't know yet. I'm not sure.
I mean,
what's going to happen, you know?
It will be for a period of time.
There you go. So that's concerned because that's a park that's well utilized, and you know, Jefferson is the closest one, or Stanley is nice too, but I feel like they might go to Jefferson before Stanley. I don't know, but it would be nice to have a park where they can go to, and that's nicely renovated as well. And since I've been here, the Lands of Field Lights and Jefferson Park have been two talked about projects for a while because I think they both need a little TLC for sure.
And Jason, just to give you, again, correct me if I'm wrong, and just based on my history with the Parks Department, is that we were supposed to undertake like a project, a park, like every 2 years, 3 years to renovate it totally. And if it wasn't the structure, it was going to be the rubber surface, because initially all of them were, you know, wood chips. And Jeff, you can, you know, talk to this too, that it wasn't the right thing to do. And we decided to do the rubber surfacing, which we have at some parks and not at all. So this may be a great opportunity to renovate Jefferson with the closing of, say, Columbus, which is not too far, and just do soup to nuts, you know?
Yeah. I believe when I first started here, we were on a schedule. I think right before I got here, I think Warren Avenue Park was done, and that was the first rubber surface replacement. And then I think we did Florence, maybe, but that wasn't done right, and that got shot up.
Right.
And then we were supposed to do Jefferson renovations, but it never happened. The pandemic came. I'm not sure how that process never happened, but there was a replacement process in place when I got here, for sure. But we lost that as the years went on, I suppose.
Something with Stanley was done too, I think.
Yeah, the resurfacing.
Yeah, I think they resurfaced Stanley too, basketball court. Right. Yep, I think we did Columbus Park basketball court more recently too, that surface. But the good news is the work we did on the Jefferson basketball court will remain. We'll have the court and the basketball brand new. It's just everything else is going to go, including new fencing. Yeah. And so myself and Jeff, we're going to work with, you know, some, because we don't know the pricing yet. We're going to work with, we estimate what we think it will cost, but we're going to work to actually get some designs, and then we can bring it back to you guys and we can discuss, you know, those plans on that playground as they progress, because it is a little bit of a process to get a design in place to bring it to the board, like a design and a price in place. So,
Jason, I was wondering if we would want, like, I don't know how this has typically worked in the past, but if there'd be any interest in having like the daycare that's right there. Like, I think there's actually a couple other like at-home daycares as well in that area. If you'd like, if we could have like any community like input into design or like requests or feature requests or something like that, like slide. I don't know like how this process works to get the design done, if you guys like put together something and then get comments on it or something, but I think that would be interesting to hear from like the teachers that are taking kids there.
Yeah, we could definitely come up with like some sort of forum on it. I would just think that we should first, because it's such a broad scale of, you know, just Google Playground equipment. We need a certain type of equipment from a certain vendor, depending on which way we're going to go. And then within that vendor, there could be, you know, 50 to 75 options. So once we kind of narrow down the vendor, then we can, you know, say, look at all these pieces that can fit in our area, because some are huge, some are small. So we can, yeah. But I think the best thing to do is try to get into place options first, and then like show them so they know. And then if someone's looking for something specifically, I don't know, maybe they want something, you know, more interactive, like a musical type deal on the playground. Like we can look into like getting that request, but I think a broad showing them what the options are is the best way to go. But we can definitely try to get like a small group together of shareholders, you know, stakeholders in the area to discuss what they would want in the playground.
Yeah, that would be really cool. But yeah, totally understand, like get narrowed down, you know, like the logistics on your
there's
interest.
there's a ton of, it could be overwhelming, the amount. But when you meet with the vendor, they're like, well, you could really only choose from this 75 pieces of equipment because of X whatever reason, elevation, this, that. There's like a million reasons why we can use certain pieces of playground equipment in a certain area versus others. I don't know. So it gets a little complicated, but we'll work with vendors and see who's on state contract, 1, and 2, who's going to give us the best price. That's always the other thing too. So we don't want to get robbed, but so we always look for the best price. But yeah, so that's kind of the main focus in the near future for the capital plan. There is other items like the dog park, which I talked to Jerry about as well. The dog park, Jerry would like to bond that, and he thinks it's going to be like 100,000. I had 75 in my plan, but he thinks it's going to be 100,000 for the dog park. But he did say that we can come up with a fee structure. So every 100,000, let me just make sure my notes are correct. Every $100,000, I think, is a $8,000 bond fee to pay. So Jerry said that we can come up with a fee structure to try to pay off that bond, meaning you would have to pay to get into the dog park type deal. But he said that he is going to work on that with us. So we can move forward with trying to come up with a plan for that, because I know that's also an interest to many. And I did mention that too. We did talk about that today as well.
Jason, I'll just put my 2 cents in on that dog park. And, you know, most of you know that that's one of my passions, is trying to get that done, because it's been discussed for so long on Parks and Rec with different committees and different members. And every time any momentum gets going, all of a sudden it just disappears. And, you know, I'm looking at the years you have on this list, and that's a long time to wait for something that's been discussed for as long as it's been discussed. And it would be nice if it could be moved up that list a little bit. And now you're talking about it being a bond and not money that supposedly had been budgeted for. So that concerns me a little bit. And I would just think it deserves a little bit more attention, just because of how long people have been pushing for this, and previous committees talked about it and then just dropped it. So that's my 2 cents on it. And, you know, a lot of these other things that need improvements, I get it, but like new things like the pickleball courts, like, or other things that we already have, we don't have the dog park. So it's not like it's something that needs to be improved upon. It's something that's just wanted in general from, you know, people who have dogs and looking for a place to go. People can go to the beach. People can go to the playground. People can go to the playground. They can go to the spray ground. They can go play basketball somewhere, but they can't go to a dog park because we don't have one. So I just wanted to put my
I mean, I agree with Carrie. It's been going on for a ridiculous amount of time. And what I don't understand is it's on the list on the last page of an option that we can use the funds for. So why does it need to be bonded? If it's on that list, why are we waiting 3 more years to bond it? And why, and the same token, why are the tennis courts, which on the previous list were slated a year earlier, we already have quotes received, we have the money, and we're still waiting 2 more years. I don't understand the flow of money. If the money is there and we already have the quotes, then why does it take an additional 2 years? Maybe Nora can answer.
I have a boss, I spoke with him today. That's what he felt the money should be spent in the near term. Nothing has been decided. I'm just presenting what the staff thinks. Do I think the dog park is actually going to happen in that year? No, I don't. I think it's going to happen a lot sooner than that. But that's the year that it ended up. Do I think it's going to happen sooner than that? I do. I think that it could happen as soon as someone tells us that the $100,000 is there. That's a whole nother thing. You know, I don't have any control over what's approved, what's not approved. I could just put together the list as talked about as staff, and that's that.
I think $100,000 is just an estimate. There's no proposals for it.
But on something like the tennis courts, who decides? I mean, the money is there in this pot, and as Carlo has pointed out, we really haven't used it. It's not making any money sitting in the bank. We have a list of things that desperately need to be done. We have items where we actually have quotes received for pickleball courts, for tennis courts. What are we waiting for exactly? Like, what has to happen?
Well, with the dog park specifically,
well, not like the dog park. I'm looking at the items on your list that have quotes.
And everyone's got pet projects, right? So, and I've got a little history here also, and I've sat on the board in dog parks. But we've also spoken about a basketball court as well down at the harbor for many years, over and over again. Not only is it a small sliver of people are going to use the dog park, a larger group of people will be using the basketball courts, like the summer camp. And Jason can tell you, I think more utilization will go for a basketball court than for a dog park. So you have to set your priorities, I think. And we've been talking, and also the spray ground, okay? Now let's go back to the spray ground. That initially was supposed to be 3,200 square feet. Now it's only about 1,500? And I think we're going to expand on that. So it's setting priorities and what's going to get utilized the most, okay? So I feel the spray ground for me is number one. Summer camp, the basketball, the campers can use it as well. So if we're going to use $100,000, say, for the dog park, I think that money can be spent better on a basketball court or the spray ground, personally. But we have to hold on to the basketball court because the pier is going to be built, I think, this year, hopefully, and they're deciding where to put it. You know, I mean, you have to see what the entire community wants as a whole. I think that just more utilization on those projects, we'll say, than the dog park. And nothing against dogs, you know. So just how do you spend the money? Who sets the priorities?
Nora, what would you suggest that we do to, like, should we write to the board? Like, who, like, if people have ideas or suggestions?
Well, I think, I mean, if it's from the committee needs to decide as a whole what the priorities are. You can all write.
Well, I mean, then I think the committee would have to agree, and it doesn't seem like we agree. So I would prefer then, if anybody has an opinion, to just voice your opinion. But it's not, I don't want to put this on G. Don't need to talk about this for an hour right now. So we can move on.
I think Kristen's question is saying quotes received. Why has things got done? Is that just your question?
Yeah, I guess the question is, if we have a quote and we have the money sitting in the bank, it's in the right zone, it's for the approved use, why aren't we moving forward?
I can't give you an answer that.
Because there are two items that are on the list where we have the quotes, we have the money, and it's not going to, and the sheet says it's not happening for 3 more years. That doesn't make any sense. There's got to be, somebody has to have an explanation. I just don't know.
I don't have any control. I get the quotes, I submit them via memo form, I put spreadsheets together. If it doesn't get sent to the board or something doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Like, I don't know where it goes from there. I think that there's been a lot of other priorities that recreation priorities have and parks priorities haven't been there, like pandemics and storms and sewer projects and 1,000,001 other capital projects, bridges and everything else that staff is going through, that these things got pushed back is the best answer I could give on what I feel is why they haven't gotten done. That there's just too many other things, not to mention that the Board of Trustees has a work session agenda that is jam-packed. And it's not that they don't want to get to us. There's a lot of things going on.
Well, the quotes are going to be no good in 3 years. So I'm
the
not
quotes
even
are
sure.
already no good.
But-
Most of them.
The quotes are already
Prices
no
are-
good.
Prices are changing like that in this climate. It's very difficult. The Lancet Field quote I've had for 6 months. I'm praying that he doesn't change the price on me because of material costs.
So,
You know.
what I would say is Jason's right, that the Board of Trustees work sessions have, we've had things carry over for months and months and months. And we've pushed to get through. So we got through most of our work session the other day, but these things haven't come up on work session. So what I would say is we're starting the budget again. We're getting ready for the next budget. And I think to the extent people, I mean, if the committee, if Rex and Parks isn't able to come up with a list of things that if they can't rank their priorities as a group, then one thing that individuals can do is, like, as any resident, express your individual view about what's happening. But I would also say, there's a lot of, it's not just parks and rec projects that aren't getting done. The pandemic and the 2 storms have really, I mean, one of the biggest time sinks for staff right now is creating the FEMA reimbursement list just for Ida. It's a huge amount of money, and they've spent time trying to replace equipment that was lost so they can just literally pick up garbage, right? I mean, Jeff found a truck last week because it's hard to buy a vehicle. So I think that everybody's sort of behind the 8 ball, and the village staff is doing a yo people's job of trying to get everything done that needs to get done. But it's been an extreme 2 years, and they've been dealing with a lot of damage, budget changes, physical damage to the village, employees out because of COVID, and trying to get the FEMA reimbursement. I mean, in our first pandemic budget, we weren't sure if we were going to be in the hole. Turns out we weren't, but that was just a benefit of sales tax and getting some FEMA reimbursements. We just had no idea. So I think anything that hasn't gotten done is because the staff has been busy doing other things.
And there are other priorities.
Tail end. Hopefully we're on the tail end.
So how about
hold on, Jason.
Oh, go ahead,
Jeff. I mean, I'm pretty new here. Me and Jason have a great working relationship. What we're trying to do is, like, the Florence Park rubber surface, Jefferson Avenue Park, Lancet Field backstop, lights, and the dog park. We're trying to get all that stuff done as soon as possible. Whether we get the money from the bond for a dog park so we could use the other funds for everything else, or however it works out. But we are trying, those are our top priorities as of right now. Some stuff on this list can't be done now, because if you do it now, and like the basketball courts that Carlo mentioned, we're not going to put basketball courts in where we plan on putting them in, and then the county's going to come up and rip them up and they're going to be no good. So the dates on this list are just in a 5-year plan. But some things will be pushed up and some things will be paid out of the funding we already have. Some things we are going to want to bond. It's just the way it works. It might be easier to bond a dog park than to get a bond for a whole playground. We already have the funds for a playground ready to go. That's what we're talking about here. Just because something says 21, 22, 24, 25, that's kind of just in the 5-year plan. That's what me and Jason came up with of what we want to accomplish in 5 years. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's in order of importance. What we're trying to do now is the Florence Park playground floor before we lose it totally and it costs us even more money. We're trying to do the lights in the backstop. We're trying to do the dog park, and we're trying to do the Jefferson Avenue Park improvements. Whether that money comes out of our trust fund account or we have to get stuff bonded, that's how it's going to work. But this is the opening conversation to push those things forward. That's what we're talking about here. So it could be the dog park gets done before Florence Park Playground Rubber because that's what we got the money for first. Or it could be Jefferson Park goes first and the dog park goes second. But that's what we're pressing immediately to be done. So
great clarification. No, that helps. It's just confusing. Like Carrie said, if we look at a list and the dog park is number 16, without the conversation with you, everyone's like, what happened to the dog park?
So this is really kind of just what me and Jason expect, or not expect, what we hope we could accomplish in a 5-year period. That's what the year to be undertaken. Maybe it should say something else besides year to be undertaking, but the dates on it is just kind of not set in stone date. Just because it says 25, 26 doesn't mean that's what we're waiting for. The more stuff
that's very misleading. Maybe for our committee, we should take it out because if it doesn't really mean what it says, then we should not look at it.
Trust me, the more stuff I feel that we could get done sooner, you know, the dates mean nothing.
Thank you for clarifying. And then, yeah, I think from the committee standpoint, we kind of just want to know what we can do as a committee to help move things forward, or like, it sounds like there's a lot of financial discussions that need to happen, but is there anything that we can do to like help move things forward?
Well, it's not only the financial discussion. You have to remember the village has been essentially closed because of the pandemic. And then we had the flood. So we have a lot of work to catch up on with that. But now that hopefully COVID's ending and we could get back to a sort of normal state, now things can continue to move forward on a regular scheduled program. And there will be no more bumps in the road.
The Village of Mamaroneck also, oops, sorry.
Go ahead, Carla.
And like, you know, like because of the flooding, like for example, just to set priorities again, the Village of Mamaroneck lost the fire department, so that's a high priority. And Tompkins Bridge also, that was an unknown. So you guys are going to be, you know, you guys are going to focus on those projects more than a basketball court, the spray ground, you know, the funding, you know, I mean, that's where those are necessities, the firehouse and the Tompkins Avenue Bridge, you know, before a dog park, court, or the spray ground, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hopefully we could start the ball rolling and everything's starting to get back to normal where we can start attacking these projects.
Right, and I think Jerry is hopeful, or he believes that the village is going to be in a really good financial position at the end of this budget in terms of surplus and just revenues and sales tax. So hopefully that will give everyone a little bit of encouragement to try to do some capital work in the near future. But I think the next step was, like, next meeting, I will give you a real quote from Musco Lighting on the lights, because if we can get that board maybe in March. That would be great, because this is the time of year you do it. And then we'll also, Jeff will work with getting us some vendors for the playground so we can do some preliminary design on that. As far as like a formal quote for the dog park, I still don't know if we have to do that $19,000 something quote or how we're going to get a formal quote. But once we get a formal quote, we could start with that too. We just haven't gotten
that $19,000 is really just a quote for design. It doesn't. It's just
right
services for the design, and I'm not sure Jerry felt that. I'm pretty sure Jerry felt that was too much money for what we were getting. I think that has been part of the holdup.
Yeah, Nora, you're right, because I remember Jerry had said, you know, he's done a dog park. He doesn't need someone like somewhere else. He doesn't need someone necessarily to come in and give us those design plans and to spend the money on that when that could be money spent on the park itself. And I fully understand all of the setbacks. Jeff, I really appreciate your explanation as far as the dates go. and this is all important. We know this is all important. Like, and there are definitely things that should be prioritized for sure. And I'm not saying the dog park, but like serious things like the surface of Florence Park that, you know, or whatever is falling apart, things that are necessary, the firehouse, all of these things that are absolutely necessity, not wants, but necessity, obviously have to be prioritized. We all know that. And I know, Nora, you also said that your board's focus and priority right now is getting the FEMA applications done to get the money. When is the deadline for that? And is this the last piece of this?
That's the staff. The staff has been working on that, and they have a deadline in the coming weeks for the IDA monies. But we're still,
you have the date of when it has to be in by?
The next couple of weeks. I'm not sure, but they're working on it now. But what I would say is we would not be in a good financial position if the staff hadn't spent this amount of time to document every expense they had. I'm sure there are many communities who are not getting reimbursed for their FEMA expenses, and they are significant expenses and significant equipment. So not only do we need to get reimbursed for it, we have to replace equipment. And you know, we're not reimbursed for the IESIS from a year and a half ago now. So the village will be floating these, we're buying vehicles to replace what was damaged, and we will get the money back later. It's a very big undertaking. And the fact that we've had 3 FEMA emergencies, you know, we're lucky that the staff is organized, that the staff is detail oriented, and has been able to document all of these expenses, and that FEMA and the state are making up a lot of this money. But 3, you know, we're incredibly lucky that we're going to get these FEMA funds. But having 3 emergencies in under 2 years, and the amount of money that we had to spend for PPE, for hand sanitizer, you know, for storm cleanup, for overtime for IESIS, for overtime for IDA, it has really put some communities in a hole. We're lucky that we're not in a hole, and we're lucky that the problems that we have are not getting some of the projects that we want to get done. I mean, that's not the worst project to have. That's not the worst problem to have. Like, we're talking about things that we wanted to do earlier and we can't get them done. But we're going to be made pretty much whole for what we've lost, largely due to the efforts the staff have made. And that's making everything take longer. So,
yeah, I mean, I never thought I would see this. So we're in the middle of a pandemic, and we had 2 storms on one payroll, 2 FEMA storms on one payroll. We had IESIS and IDA on the same payroll. It's crazy. You know, when you look back on it, it's like 2.5 years of doing our work, but also dealing with emergency after emergency and having to stop everything for a month and focus on the sole task of rebuilding. It was a lot, but I think that's why I wanted to have this discussion now, because I think we're going to be in a better place. And now's the time to try to work on getting some of these projects done.
And I just want to say, Cindy is the phone at the bottom, or at the bottom of my screen. She's
yes, that's me. I'm here. Sorry, that's me.
Hi, Cindy.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hi. Sorry, I couldn't make it in the Zoom.
All right. Let us know if you have any questions or anything.
Okay. I think I'm good. I'm just kind of listening right now.
All righty.
So I don't know if it's helpful for everybody else. I think probably what the committee would love to know, and again, we're not going to hold you to this, but like, can you walk us through what you hoped like a realistic timeline might be, or like what the next steps are on some of these projects that are, like Jeff, you had mentioned like the Florence Park playground, the lights at Lanza Field, the Jefferson Park, the dog park. So like, even though on your document you have it slated for like years from now, maybe, like what do you realistically expect to happen, or what are you hoping for? And we won't like hold you to these dates if they aren't realistic, like end up being the real thing. But like, I think that's what a lot of us are probably wondering, and how we can help you get there.
So just on the field lights, from speaking with Jerry, see, we have the quote. It's on Sourcewell, which is a state contract, like a bid type thing. We can get that to the board at a work session, maybe like March 14th, March something, and have them consider it then, because that's like ready to go and something that could be done very quickly with the vendor and before spring sports and things, if the board approves it. But Jeff, I'll let Jeff speak on the timeline for the other projects like playgrounds and stuff, because it could be slightly longer just for design purposes.
So the one thing that sticks out for me, first and foremost, that I would hope to get done right away would be the Florence Park Playground rubber surface replacement, because they have a rubber surface there now, but it's deteriorating and it's starting to cause a safety issue in that park. So first and foremost, we cover the safety issues. So that's the one I would like to attack first. As far as Jefferson Avenue Park, the tennis courts at Florence, the dog park, that's going to take a little more planning. That's not necessarily on the village. We have to get contractors in here. They have to do drawings. They have to do estimates. It's a little bit of a back and forth.
There might be an environmental review for that site, depending on how we got to do that. That could take, I don't know how long, but
so the first step is, besides Florence Park Playground rubber surface, is to get contractors and designers in here to get working on the drawings and get working on the quotes, and then we're going to take it from there. Usually, working with playground engineers and contractors, just the drawings alone could be 2 to 3 months out. Then you have to start playing with what season you're in, because if you're coming close to the end of summer going into winter months, you're not necessarily going to rip a park out and go to replace it, because now there's going to be waiting times for concrete to dry, cement posts to set, and stuff like that. So it really depends on how quickly we could get drawings and sketches and quotes of each item that we're trying to attack. And then we have to see where we stand financial wise after all the FEMA stuff is done. Then we have to see where we actually are in time, whether we have to push it to 2023 spring start, but at least all the paperwork will be done.
Jeff, can I just ask a question about the Florence rubber surface?
Mm-hmm.
What's the life expectancy of that? Because I feel like it didn't go in all that long ago. I mean, I remember when it went in, and I feel like this is really quick to have to replace it.
So I'm new at my position, but I've been with the village for 18 years. I believe my personal feelings on it is that the company that originally installed it didn't install a good enough base of the product. So it's been repaired once by a totally different company already, and that repair has stayed 100%. What happens is that rubber surface, when the glue starts breaking down, that's when it starts peeling and crumbling. And that's what happened to Florence Park. I don't believe it was installed properly in the beginning. So we're paying for it. Unfortunately, we're paying for it now.
And do we know what typically, let's assume the next one is installed properly, what the lifespan is for a surface like that?
So after further research, so we have Warren Avenue, Stanley Avenue, and Florence Park, all rubber surfaces.
Mm-hmm.
So each year they should have went through an inspection. And when the rubber surface starts balling up in your fingers and your feet, when you kick your foot on it or you rub your hand on it, they actually sell a resealer that you're supposed to do when that starts happening. And that prolongs the life of the rubber surface. So the gentleman I spoke to said you might be doing that every 2 to 3 years, but it will extend that rubber surface 4 times over. As long as you keep sealing it and you keep staying up with it, the rubber surface will extend its life.
For maintenance.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting, me and Jeff were talking about it, because we did Warren Avenue Park has this rubber surface, fairly new, similar time frame of installation. And
it's been through 4 floods.
15 feet of water on that thing. Seen it with my own eyes, and it's perfectly fine, like power wash, brand new. So I think it was we feel like it was really shoddy installation. And then also when we pulled it up, because Jeff wasn't here yet, but Barry had the repair done, it was, the guys, like, it was so thin, like they didn't do the work that they were supposed to do, which I can assure you will not happen again, because me and Jeff will assure that. I don't know what happened. We weren't here when that playground was installed, but I and Jeff, I think we feel the case of shoddy work, and that's why it's tearing up to bits now.
And you're using a different vendor for the new?
Yeah, we're gonna be using a different vendor, and we're also ourselves in-house are starting to implement the maintenance schedule for resealing those surfaces.
Right.
But the question for you, Nora, when you go to bid, you're always supposed to take the low bid, aren't you?
Well, you take the lowest responsible bid. So
right.
If we had a problem with the previous bidder, we can say that. We actually just extricated ourselves from a paving contract because the town was using a bidder, and based on after we gave the contract to the same, well, we didn't actually give the contract to the same bidder. The town decided that the work wasn't adequate, so we ended up not giving it to that bidder. We gave it to a different bidder because we decided that that vendor wasn't responsible. So we have that, you know, we don't ever have to use someone we've used before that we think is not qualified, because if we're not responsible, it's not prudent, it's not required, and it's certainly not smart for us to do.
Right. And what's key is also if you have in-house personnel who go and inspect, like going back to what Jason said, like some contractors, you know, you're supposed to get 2 inches of, say, sand, they're only going to give you 1/4 inch. And if someone really actually doesn't go there to look after they poured the sand, you know, long term, it's not going to be beneficial, you know.
No. That's why I can assure you that Jeff knows the technical details. And if there's supposed to be 3/4 inches of something, there will be 3/4 inches of something there. Otherwise, there's going to be an issue. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the job wasn't watched closely enough, but whatever jobs we do now will be watched over very well, because we're not going to put ourselves in that situation. So.
And you're learning from your mistakes.
Be mindful of everybody's time. So I know this is all important, but if there's anything that we want to wrap up with just this, because this is our first agenda item, so we can move on. But so any last thoughts quickly?
Nothing. I think we can make notes, because we're going to put it. We're going to talk capital projects. The next meeting, we'll try to get the lights and quotes for the lights and stuff. And if you all want to make notes and whatever, please send it over to us, and we could all put it on the agenda items.
I mean, and then the only thing I had too was, like, if you're bringing something forward to the board that we can be helpful in speaking up about, if you let us know. I mean, I don't have time to always watch the board meetings. I don't know if anybody else does, but like, I would definitely join and speak up if you needed us to, you know?
Yeah, well, we appreciate that. Thank you. We just want to work together, try to get some of these projects done, and move forward with getting quotes and getting work done, letting things.
Oh, someone has their hand up. I don't know who it is. Do you want me to allow them?
Sure. I don't know who it is either, but.
Shall I do that? Okay. I'm going to allow them to talk. Okay.
Nora, it's George Latimer listening in, County Executive. How are you all?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. I just wanted to, because you were ending the last conversation before you begin the next one, as I generally do probably once every 6 months. I'd just like to check in and see if there's anything on your agenda that requires action by the county government, something that we ought to be on top of, investigate, respond, that's important to you, that should be important to us.
Mr. County Executive, I think on behalf of the entire population, all 20,000 residents, I think the county pier at Harbor Island, whenever we can get that done, we'll be super appreciative. Yeah. So I think that's, as the recreation supervisor, I'll speak on behalf of the residents on that one.
Fair enough. It's a golden jewel you guys have there.
It is. So that's it, right? That's our big issue, right? When that's going to get...
Yeah, the Westchester County Pier at Harbor Island, getting that
20 years and counting. 20 years and counting.
Right.
And
do you have is there a specific plan that the village has about what you'd like to see us do there?
Jeff, you know what Foreman's been, he's been dealing with the county on it. So, but you know, things take time. Right. I believe it's in the bidding process is what we were last told for a contractor. So,
well, I'll certainly check it out. But as you can appreciate, you know, where I'm sitting as county executive, I don't know what people a couple of levels down in a given department are doing. So I'll certainly look into it and find out where we are. But if there is if the question is that there's a specific plan that's been agreed upon and now it's executing it, that's one thing. If the question is, you know, the county hasn't developed a plan to do something that the village agrees, and that's something different. So what I'll do is this, I'll ask you to give me a call tomorrow. Somebody give me a call tomorrow at the office, 995-2910, and, you know, talk to me about it, and then I'll do the homework on it. We'll report back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And anything before I jump off the line and let you go on with your agenda, besides Harbor Island Pier pipe, is there anything else that you think is worthy of me putting on my to-do list?
I don't think so. I mean, we know you have a lot on your to-do list.
Yeah, it's a lot of communities out there. And I do this what I'm doing now, and you hear me when I do it in Mamaroneck Village, I do it everywhere, all the time, every night. I was just in Hastings on the Zoom and, you know, Pound Ridge, but that's the job, and I want to try to stay on it, you know.
That is incredible.
Okay,
well,
I'll let you go.
Thank you.
And then, and I appreciate the input. We'll talk tomorrow, I guess.
I'm going to memorize your phone number, so I'll always know it's you.
Nora, thanks a lot. I appreciate the help.
Thanks, George.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, have a good night.
Thank you.
Carry on. Okay, bye-bye now.
Bye.
Have a good one, George.
Okay.
Hardest working county executive, probably.
Unbelievable.
Amazing. Goes to all these meetings. Wow.
He must be grateful for Zoom because he actually used to drive around and go everywhere.
Yeah. I know.
Okay, so to allow us to move on, maybe each month we can just kind of stay on top of what we think should be happening next and discuss it so that we're not discussing it for so long.
Yep, we will continue on these projects that we've identified as all important.
So was there anything else on this that you and Jeff had?
That was the gist of it. The other items are just our normal little updates. Jeff, you want to give a quick update, your monthly update, just what you've been snow or whatever else you've been doing?
We've been, you know, we had a couple of snowstorms, couple ice storms that we've been dealing with. Other than that, we've been assisting the harbor master with building docks. We've been doing a lot of shop maintenance, trying to be better prepared for the spring and summer seasons. You know, I'm using this time to really change the way we do things in the shop to my liking and you know, really getting input from my own guys on what needs to change and what needs to be done better. So we're really just using that time to regroup and come up with a plan of attack for spring and summer and fall.
Right. For recreation, we are doing a lot of planning. Recently this month, we're doing the hiring information, so that will be out next week for part-time seasonal jobs. It's that time of year, lifeguards, camp counselors, beach attendants, park booth attendants, on and on. So that's tasks. We've been working with the HR on getting that information out. Camp information also will be coming out next week with registration opening for residents the first week in March. Sorry. So that's going well. That's obviously pretty extensive. Beach parking passes for Arbor Island Park. The seasonal passes are going to go on sale the first week in April, the first Monday in April. So that information will be coming out as well. And also just like planning a ton of working with different groups on events, working on our own events, because they'll take like a lot of time. A lot of requests for permits. So we sent out to all the field users, but other than that, we have other requests for permits and parties for the summer. So all that stuff's starting to come in. We hope to open the fields for the spring, summer season. What do we say, Jeff? The first week in April, the first Monday in April.
I think it was April 4th or something.
Yeah, April 4th, weather permitting. Hopefully, if we get a dry March, that we can get everyone out there. I know soccer likes to start like around then. Baseball likes to start earlier than that, but it's just not possible. So all that's going on. And yeah, busy time of year for us, for sure.
Jason, by any chance, I don't know who saw the email that came into the Parks and Rec email?
Yeah, I'll respond
somebody looking to
it.
rent the pavilion? Okay, I just want to make sure you saw that because
I don't even know how they got that email. I don't even know if that's a public, it's on a website or it's interesting. I've never seen that before. It is? Yeah. So normally we ask them to email recreation@Bomni because
right.
We get, but I'll make sure to answer.
But you
that
saw
one.
it. Okay.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure you saw it because I know that's not us, but I guess the person didn't know to email like you as being the director. Okay.
Yeah, I saw that. So I'll take care of it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, Jeff, I got a question for you. Are you going, I think you said yes, and maybe things have changed. Are you going to try to address that sinkhole in right field near the schoolhouse that's been sitting there for years and years and years? You're going to bring in some soil and just throw some seed on it and whatever germinates.
Yes, that's the plan for if the weather breaks in March, for early March, I'm going to go around the harbor and all the other parks and start, filling in some divots and sinkholes.
Right, the low spots.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, that's on plan for early March, weather depending.
Okay. And then you're going to do the spiking and seeding, I guess, in the fall, right? With the new equipment.
I'm planning on doing it early March.
Oh, are you?
Yep.
Okay.
As long as the weather breaks for us and we could get it done, we're shooting for early March to
and then
spike and seed.
And you'll do it twice a season, or are you going to do it twice?
Twice. We're going to do spring and fall.
And fall. Okay. Excellent. Yep. Great. Thank you.
So everybody pray for good weather in March.
Okay. I'd be happy if that sinkhole goes behind right field.
Yep.
Long overdue. But
yep, I got a whole list of low spots and sinkholes in the harbor and other parts.
Okay. Great.
Question, you mentioned starting to hire seasonal, I guess, lifeguards, camp counselors. I've had a couple conversations. I know the city of Rye is requiring all their seasonal staff to be fully vaccinated. What's the Village of Amereneck's policy?
Right now we have in the employment application, there's like a questionnaire where it asks you if you're vaccinated or if you're unvaccinated or if you do not wish to disclose. And that's the only thing that the village has told me so far. I don't think we have a policy village-wide as of yet, at least that I haven't been told of. So until HR or management tells me, that's where we're at right now. But there is a questionnaire, so they're trying to gauge how much full-time staff and part-time staff are vaccinated. But other than that, I don't know what they're gonna do, if anything.
Or nothing in the village? No, I just know with the kids, a lot of the parents are concerned that they would prefer that their counselors and people around them are vaccinated, but I guess it hasn't really come up as a question to you yet, Jason?
Not from a parent, no, not from a parent.
Quick question around this, and sorry if this has already been answered, but is the camp gonna be all outdoors again, or will there be any kind of indoor component this year?
It's going to be mostly outdoors, but the pavilion will be used, especially for the youngest ones. Like the pre-K, K, 1, 2, they mostly use the inside because it's air conditioned and they need it. But yeah, kids shuffle in and out to get cool. There's certain activities that are inside, like art. But most of the activities are outside, yes.
Yeah, I could see it being a concern for parents. My kids are too young for camp right now, but I could see it being a big concern that they'd be indoor, like at all. I know that hopefully the numbers and COVID in general is over by then, but I could see it being a big concern, especially with like gyms requiring vaccinations. And I feel like they would expect it to be similar, but I don't know.
Unfortunately, it's not like I can't disconnect the day camp staff from the rest of the village staff. They're village staff. So whatever the village's policy is with hiring is what I have to go by. So it comes from HR and that's what it is. But I don't know which way the village is going to go, if any. But we'll see what kind of response I get from parents on that. I mean, last year, the kids, it was the same type of programs, kids inside, outside, and we're wearing masks, staff wearing masks. But each parent was really individual. So it depends. I really have to talk to parents on a one-on-one basis when these things come up because yeah, everyone's different, but I don't know which way the village is going to go in terms of if they would require vaccinations or not.
I think Jerry's trying to figure out what to do based on the mandates and the court situation. So the first step was to gauge how many people are vaccinated.
Does anybody else have any questions?
I have one. Just Jason, you want to talk about that March 15th or 14th concert?
Oh, the Historical Society one?
Yeah, sounds like a nice.
Yeah, so I didn't have it in this meeting because I wasn't sure how finalized the details were, but the historian, the village historian, John Pritz, reached out to me and he wanted to do a like a classical, like historical, like type dance, right? It was like a folk dance type thing. I'm gonna pull up the what's it called? So let's see, here we go. So it's called Liz Sladen Band. It's a dance person who fosters community through traditional dance, so square dance, contra dance, and big circle dance. So the Historical Society wants to do like an event on the bandstand where they kind of do this Liz Sladen Band kind of does these traditional dances and teaches people how to do them. And according to the Historical Society, this is like a sponsored event. So Arch Westchester gets money from the state for these type of historical performances, I suppose. And so I guess some of that money went to our Historical Society. So they would like to do something like this. So it's pretty cool. We don't have a flyer or anything yet. They're still working out the details, but I think it'll be a cool event to have in mid-May. I think it's May 14th is the date. Yeah.
And also, Jason and Jeff are working with the Arts Council and the Emlyn. There's going to be 2 concerts in the summer that the Emlyn and the Arts Council partner with. And then there's going to be 4 of those Friday pocket concerts too in parks.
Yeah. So we're working on 2 like large scale or Emlyn concerts. I believe the Emlyn is also going to do a smaller one at Columbus Park, like a smaller performance. And then I believe the Arts Council is going to do some pop-ups in the parks again, right?
Yep, on Friday evenings.
And then Arts Council might be doing something else. They might do like a fair or something that they're working on. There's a lot going on. I have a full list of a bunch of events that were hopefully movie nights and tiki nights and campouts and car shows, parades and things that we're also working on. The first being the St. Patrick's Day Parade, which I have a meeting next week about that. So that's coming up too. I think the 22nd of March is the St. Patty's Day Parade. So
do we know when the Fireman's Parade is? Do we have a date for that?
Yeah, I have a calendar with it. I think I emailed you the other day that working list. Fireman's parade is on June 29th.
Great. Okay.
Yep. Some of our right neck friends in here, I'm working with the PTSA on Sprint to School and sometime in end of April, early May. So we're working with them on that, which is like a little running event they do for the kids through Florence Park. So there's a lot of cool things coming up.
Well, thank you, everybody. Our next meeting is March 2nd, so make sure you check your emails like the few days leading up to that. May I have a motion to—
Wait, Tina, before you close out the meeting, I just have one thing I just wanted to ask everyone about really quickly. I don't know if everybody is aware that the board has slated, I believe, on February 14th to review the public law about smoking in parks. And I think that this commission should have an opinion on what we think should or shouldn't be included or changed. So I guess this came up with the legalization of marijuana. And there was the possibility of adding marijuana to the list of prohibitions. And then I don't know if it was one of their planning sessions or their meeting. I know we have a new trustee, Trustee Young, who was questioning whether or not smoking should be prohibited at all. And I just think that since we are Parks and Rec, and this is kind of, you know, we make recommendations and we support things, that we should have an opinion on what we think so that the board is aware of what this commission, how this commission feels about all of that.
So I can tell you what the law is. The proposed law is to simply add marijuana and any marijuana product to the current prohibition. So
right, but they put it on for a public hearing on the 14th, correct?
Right. There is no smoking allowed in the parks now, but marijuana is not prohibited. So this law adds marijuana to that list. So it doesn't allow smoking in the park. It expands the prohibition to include marijuana.
Correct. I just, you know, as like I said, with Trustees Young comments about us, he thinks that we should revisit that whole thing. And I feel like we've already gone down that path, or the board has. And, you know, as far as whether or not smoking should be in the parks, I just feel like the commission should be aware of what's happening if they don't know that that's happening, and have a collective opinion on it if possible. That's just wanted to make sure everybody on the commission knew that that was happening, and to see how everybody felt about it. I mean, I can say I, for one, think that the prohibition should add marijuana, because I think it's, while it's legal, it's still a substance just like smoking. I still think that the law should stand that smoking should be prohibited in the parks for so many reasons. So I hope that that's not changed at all. But I do think that marijuana should be added to it. If it's still the smoke, whether it's legal or not, it's a similar substance as far as what it does and who it affects. So
Harry, smoking is legal too, right? So no, I agree with you 100%. Just because something is legal doesn't mean you can do it.
Right. Smoking's legal, drinking's legal. You know, marijuana is now legal, but they're prohibited in the park for, like I said, numerous reasons. So I just think the commission should be aware that that's slated to be a public hearing to, as far as the marijuana goes. But I was just concerned with, you know, that was brought up that, you know, it should be re-reviewed and possibly allow smoking in there. I mean, I watched the meeting, Nora, so that's why I bring it up.
Yeah, Nora. I agree with you, Carrie. I'm curious, like, how the village defines, like, what is a park where you can or can't smoke, because I do see cigarette butts like all over Harbor Island Park by the park benches, but I'm assuming that that's like, are we looking at that as like an open space that the public is allowed to smoke there, or should that be regulated?
No, that's just a matter of enforcement. Yeah, okay. No, that's not that. That's just people, you know, smoking there, even though it's not allowed. If anybody does want to read the current law, the code is correct me if I'm wrong, Nora, if you know, I think it's 260.3 prohibitions, and then there's a section about smoking. So everybody can read the current law and, you know, maybe put their 2 cents in to the board.
I know that there are people who do smoke in the park and that it is 100%,
yep.
But there are also people who speed and don't get caught. You know, it's funny.
Of course.
You know, so it's I think it's
the list goes
I just
on and on.
wasn't sure if there was like areas that we had deemed like public.
Currently, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Currently, there are no designated areas, and I don't know how that would work because you can't stop smoke from traveling. So I don't really know that would be successful. But anyway, I just wanted everybody to be aware, and because we're Parks and Rec, and it's about parks.
Well,
Nora, is that something that you think we should?
Well, I mean, if you want to make
email
as a committee, you have to vote on it. Otherwise, you're free to all make your own individual statements. And just say you're a member of the committee, but you're not speaking on behalf of the committee. So it depends. If you want to do it as a group, you can make a motion and do it, or you can all do it individually.
How does everybody feel about? I mean, I think it would be more powerful if it came from the committee, if everybody's in agreement, or
Sorry.
we could. Sorry, what?
I think we just need a majority, right? Or do we need a unanimous, or we just need a majority?
Make a motion, and if it carries, it carries.
Carrie?
She wasn't talking about me. She's talking about Carrie.
That's why I left it for you.
Can we do that now?
So
yeah, can we do that?
I'll make a motion to draft. Well, not for me to draft. If somebody no, wait. We have to vote to see who.
It come from you probably as the chair. Right.
If the Recreation Committee is opposed, or no, if we want to
support the new law,
we want to support adding marijuana to the existing law prohibiting smoking in the park. That's what we're saying.
And to send a letter to the board supporting.
You can just make the motion and send a brief note with the motion. It doesn't have to be a long letter. Make it as simple, make it simple.
Mm-hmm.
We need to
make a motion, right?
Yeah.
Tina made the motion.
Somebody second?
I'll second the motion.
Anyone, right? Anyone opposed?
You probably should do it by name if that's easier. I think that it's just say call the roll.
Carrie, you want to do that?
Sure. Tina?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Carlo?
I'm in. Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Cindy, are you really there? Brittany?
Yes. I'm really here.
Kristen? And I'm a yes. And I don't have to ask Nora, Jason, or Jeff, correct?
We can't vote.
No.
Okay. So that's everyone is a yes on supporting adding marijuana to the current prohibition law.
And Manny dropped off, so he's not there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I have to sign off. I'm sorry, I have to be somewhere at 9.
I think we're all signing off. Carla.
Yeah. So I'll make a motion.
Tina,
yeah.
Just so I know, we approved the December minutes, but not the January, right? Because Robert's gonna ask me tomorrow.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
I didn't get you the January minutes until this afternoon, so they weren't
no
posted.
problem. I just want to make sure that he could put the December minutes as we approve them. Okay, good.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks to Robert too.
Yes, thanks to Robert, handles all of our postings and website stuff and all that, and Sally for the Zoom links and everything.
Okay, so
they're so patient.
Close the meeting. Anyone second?
I
Okay.
second.
Thanks all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.